Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode. So this is officially the 51st episode of the podcast. So we're going into some new territory, as we already know. We got a lot of things going on, and as you can see, there's somebody a little extra. Wait, where is it? That way, a little extra down here. But we'll get into that in a quick second, because you already know we got to start it just like this. I am your man, K Marvel.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy, Mr. QS himself.
Hello, beautiful people of YouTube. It's your boy, the Big Stretch, Human Encyclopedia.
I'm Striker Dragoon. I'm not doing all that extra happy go. Like, let's get to it.
Promotion.
And as always, we are your four corners of commentary. So today, we have a special guest for a small amount, and then we're going to jump. Well, my brothers over here are going to jump into talking about Wrasslemania and just some of the matches and some of the best moments that they felt was important. But right now, I would like to introduce my guy, my dude, somebody I've known for quite some time. I don't know why my shit's bugging out right now. Mr. Brandon Sokler.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for having me.
I don't have it. So this man is. Do you mind if I say all of your titles and roles?
By all means, go for it, and good luck.
Well, listen, I try.
You'll be here to fill in the blanks. Don't worry about it.
But
certainly.
He is part owner of a promotion called Catalyst Wrestling, who has a show this Sunday, in Brooklyn at 4:30. Can you just tell them where it's at real quick?
Sure. So quick rundown, since I also am not only the part owner, executive producer, I'm also the ring announcer, so I can give introductions pretty well. So the Muse, 5 o'clock, doors at 4:30. It's at 350 Moffett Street, and it is going to be Fear and Loathing in New York, presented by Catalyst Wrestling. And we got the NWA Junior Heavyweight title being defended in its first defense by Homicide versus AEW's Pretty Peter Avalon. We have JD Drake facing off against the Catalyst champion, Darius Carter, who just also won the ECWA Super 8. You love to see it. And we have a fantastic card, just top to bottom. And we're going to get into some silly bullshit, and we hope to see you there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we wanted to get him on not only because I've known this man for minimum a decade.
Yeah.
And I can say straight up, I am so proud of you, bro. And
Thanks,
and I've said it privately. I've said it to my brothers here on the podcast, and I've said it to you personally. So I want to say it publicly. I'm so proud of you, man. Just from where, we've known each other from then. This was before I had a kid. This was before I had hair on my face. Like this is special to me. Because, like I said, I've known him for so long, and I've watched you grow from your times from doing auditions as an actor to doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And, at the end of the day, who would have known? Who would have guessed that you would be in this type of position?
It's a weird journey, I'll be honest with you, Kyle, and it's something where it did come out of the acting stuff, and I'm still doing the acting stuff, but the story of me and pro wrestling and acting are entirely intertwined. I took my first theater class because I saw a Rock and Jericho promo and went, I better take a theater class if I'm going to talk like them. And then I grew up to be 5'8", and at the time, that was not world championship material, and I'd gotten bitten with the acting bug. And that was around 16, where I was playing. 6 to 16, I was playing ice hockey, and at 15. I was knocking everyone over. I was kicking ass. Everyone was bowling pins because they'd all grown up like sprouts and just didn't have like any semblance of center of body. But at 16, I was starting to get wrecked and was pretty okay with the idea of, I guess I'll go do theater. There's a lot of pretty people here. Great. Fun. So, I mean, those have been intertwined for a really long while. But yeah.
I mean, I think, and it's funny, you know, just to talk about the acting for a second.
Sure.
Excuse me, because doing what we did, and I'm not ashamed, and I know he's not ashamed. We sold comedy tickets in Times Square. We spoke to a lot of people from around the world. Excuse me, which is a very unique job in itself, because not a lot of people have done that type of job, especially in Times Square, where it's tourist central, and you know, we mutually have friends who is into acting, who is also into wrestling, or into just wrestling but not acting, or just into acting and not wrestling. And we've, because of the love of wrestling, especially during the Attitude Era, we've been able to connect with different people all over the world. And like I said, brother, watching you do what you do now, and just seeing the opportunities that I don't even want to say that's given to you, that I feel like that you've taken. You know, and I'm so proud of you, dude. I'm
Thanks,
so happy for you, brother. You know, and the crazy part, and I'm not ashamed to say it, I haven't seen this man's face or spoken to him like this in so long. So long.
Eons, man, truly.
Yeah, it really
But
feels
it's
that.
really good to see you, and you know, I also have tuned into the show a little bit, and it's lovely to see what you guys are doing. And yeah, I'm just grateful to be on. So
Nah,
thanks.
man, I
Very
appreciate
much.
you. We all
Thank you.
we all appreciate you, man.
Very much
Real quick,
appreciated.
let me jump to the comments. That's Tiff over there saying, "Hi, gentlemen. What's good, baby?" Jesse, who's been out day one. What's going on, brother?
Oh, my
You know
Jesse.
what I mean?
Thank you.
I don't. Is there anybody on Facebook right now or no?
That's Tyner, I think. It's Chris Tyner.
You think? All right, let me jump on and look, because as y'all
Fox
know,
Viner is his boy.
if you don't hit the button to say who you are, this is actually not easy. It's not easy trying to guess who's who, and I'm absolutely okay with that.
That's Schmidbauer.
Oh, Schmidbauer, my bad.
Schmidbauer. Fox Viner is his boy. Schmidbauer.
Got you. Well, what's going on, brother?
What's up, Bob?
Book him. He loves silly shit. And once again, that's Jesse. Talk about what's good, bros. Brother, man, you always know. You know, you're day one, so we appreciate you. So as you can see on the ticket below, Catalyst Wrestling will be April 10th this Sunday in Brooklyn. So before we get into the card, I just want to ask you, how did you get, if you don't mind sharing, how did you get
not
in
at all.
the position of not only being just a ring announcer, but hell, being part owner of the company?
So it's a fun answer. So all of this, as I said, kind of dated back to acting. I did a web series for 3 seasons called Adultish that was about geek pop culture stuff. And through that, we landed on a network called Footprint, which is just another OTT network, which means over the top. And like Netflix, Hulu, anywhere the content is aggregated like that is known as an OTT. So we were on the Footprint network, and they had a sister site called fanbolt.com. And I was going to all these indie events already and being like, I talked to some of the owners and just emailed their media people and said, hey, I can do interviews for you guys on a website that gets like 200,000 daily active users. Does that sound good to y'all? And they were like, yes, absolutely. Yes, that sounds very, very good. And through that, I made a bunch of relationships with Evolve, with the MLW, with the Impact, and just anywhere that ran through New York, because I loved the sport. I loved the art of pro wrestling. And frankly, I just wanted to see it get a little bit of a better exposure. So I was very happy to do that. And yeah, it's fun as shit to talk to wrestlers. They're great people. Most of the time, like any people, they are people. But that ended up transferring into, I then had all these relationships, and I came to pro wrestling, as I said, because of Chris Jericho. And like, I was a long-haired blonde hockey player. His dad was rock and roll. I wanted to be rock and roll, but had no musical talent. So I wanted to do a documentary on Chris Jericho as Renaissance man Chris Jericho, as he's done so damn much. And that's been an inspiration for me artistically to just like, I work on comic books, movies, podcasts, theater, whatever interests me. And a large part of that's because I was like, oh, he can do it, I can do it. So when the first Jericho cruise came around, I was like, oh, I should shoot this documentary. And we didn't get the stuff together in time, but because it was January and I got everything together for it by February, like I had enough locked in place. I was like, it's probably not going to go now, but WrestleMania is around the corner. I have all these companies. AEW is coming up. And I kind of figured that the New York WrestleMania week was going to be the last great WrestleMania week of independent wrestling for a while. Because I think a lot of us did, in that we thought the contract wars, everyone was going to sign people up. Impact, MLW, NWA, AEW, and WWE were all signing people to contracts, and Ring of Honor. So like, who would be left after that? And the Brit Res scene had been bought up. Madness. So I wanted to document it because I was like, this shows us what I truly believe, which is pro wrestling is like tapas. If you don't like it, you haven't had the right dish. So we filmed with WXW and DDT and Kaiju Big Battle and MLW and Impact and Evolve and Shimmer. And through that, I'm still working on that whole doc because a whole lot's happened since then. And the indies didn't die. The indies got better. And one of the ways that they got better also was the speaking out movement. Like there were a lot of people in wrestling who probably shouldn't have been in wrestling. And I had met in my travels one of the owners of Catalyst Wrestling, and they had lost a ring announcer. And I just shot him a message and said, hey man, do you need someone with 10,000 hours of stage time? Because I can do that. And I figured it'd be just fun. I mean, why not? And, you know, down the road, maybe I can shoot the documentary here and whatnot. But what ended up happening was I really enjoyed doing the whole thing, and I still make a ton of stuff, like whether it is TV shows, comic books, podcasts, all that stuff. So after a couple shows, it was something where I went, hey man, do you want me to help you produce? Yeah, that'd be great. You do that, I guess, already. So yeah. So I ended up buying in, and New York is run by its own state athletic commission. Like there are rules and guidelines. This is why
every state.
Every state, absolutely right.
Yeah, it is a thing, and like New York is stricter than most. And you have to apply for a promoter's license. So I ended up buying in to the company and doing that because like I believe New York is one of the most kick-ass places artistically and has such a rich wrestling history that like when you have people like Homicide, who when I announce him, I say, this man is New York wrestling. And you could argue Bruno Sammartino and all that shit, but it's like the people that I grew up on, those early Ring of Honor tapes that you get at, or DVDs, excuse me, at FYE or the RF video, Best of the Best, the CZW fake UTVs. I got hooked on wrestling right as the indie boom started happening. And to me, that man made the scene. And now with Catalyst, what we are looking to do is not just be a company that was in New Jersey, because there were several, and there are several in New York. And I do believe there's room for all of us. But we want to make a hyper-specific, New York-based, artistic, kick-ass, and very different version of pro wrestling, because there's room for that. So that's the long-winded answer of how I got it.
No, it's fine.
Because what you said is you got to take up the space, and also if you see space within this, like there is so much room for what pro wrestling is and can be. So make it.
Yes, sir.
True.
Listen, man, that's incredible as is. I'm sorry if I cut anybody off. But that's awesome. I mean, look, listen, I can tell you straight up, without these three, I wouldn't be able to be doing this podcast right now. So I can understand being I don't want to say thrown, but having the opportunity to create. And and we spoke about this literally today, where being a creative person, sometimes you need a different outlet. I used to do music back in the day, and then it kind of like stagnated, and not because of anything else other than myself, but using my voice and using my knowledge of something that I love and I appreciate is something similar to what you're doing, where you're using your knowledge of wrestling and your love of wrestling to expand and give these people some opportunities. There's nothing like it. There really is nothing like it.
No,
And that's
and it's
why
all about people. It's
Yeah.
all about people and surrounding yourself with the right people who
Yup.
believe in what you're doing. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people learned to bake bread during the pandemic and whatnot. I learned how to do hip hop, improv, and freestyle, and how to
Hey.
ring, announce, and produce wrestling. So, like,
There we go.
it's something where, like, y'all have seen that South Park episode where it covers wrestling and it's wrestling as theater.
Yeah.
Like, I love pro wrestling,
Yeah.
and people come at it from a bunch of different points. As I said, it's tapas. You can have your dish. It can be you're a sports fan and you like that it's sports. You can
Yep.
be a theater fan and like the fact that it's a rope opera. You can have whatever angle from it, but a lot of pro wrestling hasn't taken from some of the successful things that are happening in those other forms of entertainment. Like, what company is doing Utopia or Euphoria, excuse me, or like whatever your favorite show is? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
we can steal from that. We can do
Yeah.
that because pro wrestling is one of the most flexible art forms on the planet. Now, are we
Yes,
trying
sir.
to do Euphoria? No, because frankly, New York State Athletic Commission requires you to be 18 to wrestle. And frankly, beating a bunch of kids up and having them go wrestle
Right.
seems like a bad idea. But
Yeah.
in terms of just like stealing from stuff, why not? Why not
Yeah.
do something different? I think there's room for all of us, and there's certainly room for more pro wrestling fans and more respect for pro wrestling.
Yes,
So,
sir.
got to get more asses in the seats and more eyeballs to the TV. So that's
Yes,
what we're out
sir.
here trying to do.
Something I was interested in, and I'm sorry, gentlemen, if I'm just kind of like bogarting, but
Strong.
something I was really interested in was the fact that when you look up Catalyst Wrestling,
Mhm.
you see that it comes up and then it says TV show, because a lot of independents don't have that,
Right.
And you can see that it's on Tubi, right?
Mhm.
We're on a
Yeah,
whole
Pluto. I know you're on
slew
Pluto
of
for sure.
streamers. Yeah.
I know you're
Yeah.
on Pluto for sure.
Yeah, I mean, a
but-
focus that we're trying to have that I think is part of our lane and has been, like, this is actually our 5th anniversary show. And
Yes, sir. I was gonna get into that.
Wow.
in a previous iteration, we were known as Capital Wrestling, but we changed to Catalyst Wrestling with a bunch of changes that happened just generally. But one of the consistent things that has happened throughout it is the focus on storytelling within this. You have so many indies who put on utterly fantastic cards, top to bottom, amazing matches. But like the ability to do long-term storytelling sometimes is needed by the fact that, like, if you are doing a massively stacked indie card, well, how often can you run it? And the way that we've done things and are doing things presently is we're taping 9 weeks of television when we do these events. Now, you can see those 9 weeks of television as an iPay-per-view before everyone else sees it on YouTube, Pluto, Tubi, Vudu, Nudu. There's a lot of Udus and a couple of other syndicated.
Voodoo and a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah, the Voodoo that you do. But yeah, no, it's something where, like, we're trying to experiment around with how wrestling is presented, and also, like, we're DIY. We're trying to do this on our own and like build up. I've joked that I'm kind of the pebble. I am the reverse rock. Like, I do not have a monetary empire and then went into wrestling. He had a monetary empire and went into acting. I have theater actor money, brah. It's a different animal.
Definitely different animal.
But it is something
that's
where,
like.
like, from that and from knowing how to, like, put on a production of Hamlet for really cheap, but make it look really good,
Right.
I'm stealing that stuff. And that sense of storytelling and working with people like Ash, like Matt, like Jesse Holland, these people who have been there from day one and trying to expand out on it. Because I think a major problem that has happened in pro wrestling is like when they try to branch out from the norms, steal from other things, a lot of the time there's wrestling people who haven't necessarily done that stuff and they're doing like a weird imitation filtered through Vince McMahon.
Right.
Yeah.
I've done other shit. I've worked with puppets. I have done podcasts. I have done cannabis comic book stuff. I commentate on MMA. Like, that's not me just tooting my own horn. We have a roster of really amazing people and like a backstage crew of really amazing people that are trying to just make it a bit different. Because I think in a world where like you're competing against literally everything on Netflix, everything on Hulu, Sleep, a trip to Wendy's, you're competing against people's time more as much as anything. So why is it different? What makes it worth it? So with Fear and Loathing, we're trying to do something a little different. I mean, one of our main events is the NWA Junior Heavyweight title versus an AEW wrestler. Like,
huge deal.
Absolutely.
Huge deal.
Yeah.
Huge.
We've joked that we are the Forbidden Crawl Space. We're doing the Forbidden Door on a much smaller scale.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The
Well,
amount of crossover, definitely.
Well, I think
man. Well,
you should give yourself a lot more credit than just being a crawl space.
So great. Darius Carter, yeah, definitely.
Let's call it what it is. You know, I mean, I've been following Catalyst for quite some time, and I might have not said it to my brothers often, but you know, and like I said, once I found out, you know, once you and I spoke again because it was so long, you know, and life happens, you know what I mean? Like you separate and come back together, like, you know, that's how it was for me and the three of them. Once again, I'm so proud of you, man, and I just feel like I should say that again. And I'm so happy for you, and I can't wait to see you on Sunday. Like I don't think you understand the big ass hug I'm gonna give you on Sunday.
I'm ready, bro. Bring it.
You know.
But, yeah, I mean, and just to circle back to you all mentioned Darius Carter. I mean, the dude's lighting the indie scene on fire.
Yes.
He's doing the damn work, and it's amazing to watch him. And he's going to be facing off against JD Drake, who I have been ringside to hear that man chop people. It is
crazy,
terrifying.
Crazy.
And I've taken a hard chop. Ortiz chopped me for when we got to $5,000 in fundraising for the documentary.
No.
That was the incentive at a handprint on here for like 5 days. And my boy Cassidy Haynes at bodyslam.net has been doing a series called Cassidy Takes Chops from Wrestlers, where he interviews them and then just takes a chop to the chest. I have seen hard chops up close. Ooh, JD Drake's. It ranks. But it's going to be a hell of a show. We're doing it at the Muse, which is a circus venue. Like, again, in terms of doing stuff a little bit differently, most days a week you have aerial silks artists dropping down and flipping on silks there. It looks really cool. And it's just another one of those things of, okay, steal from your life, man. Do something a little bit different. And that's, I did a production of Midsummer, like Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare, a million years ago there, around the time Kyle and I were saying, do you like comedy? In Times Square.
Do you like black people? Remember that shit?
No, I couldn't do that as much, but you know, hey, but yeah, it was something where just take the things from your life, and then like you have a lot of the stuff that you need to make cool art or cool professional wrestling, or however you view it. My general idea is just like, go make stuff. You have the things. So that's
so real
how that
quick. No, you're good. So I know you got some important things to do before the show on Sunday. real quick, can you just promote the show and just tell them some of the matches and get them excited about some of the things that's about to happen on Sunday?
Sure. So, I mean, first and foremost, I'll promote the fact that if you go to catalystwrestling.com, go to buy tickets, and you put in the code 5 with a capital F, you're going to get $5 off. So, like, go do that.
Okay.
Get that discount. Keep that bread. And then, I mean, we have a pretty damn stacked show. A match that I hadn't promoted yet was Colby Corino versus Akira. That is going to be a banger and a half. Akira is known as an utterly fantastic deathmatch wrestler, but the dude can go. I mean, you've probably seen him on GCW, but he is utterly fantastic in the ring and reminds me of AJ Styles in all of the best ways. Colby Corino, I've never seen the same match out of twice. He just
Colby
happens-
is
Which is
amazing.
good. That's good.
I think Colby
he's a
is so
prodigy.
underrated. Like him and his dad. I mean,
Mhm.
first off, his dad is probably one of the most underrated wrestlers in the history of wrestling.
I'd agree with that.
And his son, I mean, even from when he was young. Sorry, by the way, if y'all don't know, Isabella is the future of the Four Corners right here.
There we go. The fifth corner.
But the fifth corner, which is weird. But
Pentagon.
Colby is so underrated, and he has become such an he has become such an amazing performer
Mhm.
in every promotion that he's appeared in, which is why I'm so excited for so many of the people that's going to be on your card. I mean,
Yeah.
you got Homicide, which we've mentioned before. You got Colby, which you mentioned before. You got Pretty Peter Avalon, whom has not been shown so much on AEW, but been shown on Dark. So underrated.
In terms of how hard that man can go in the ring, like people forget. I mean, go check out the promo that he put up for Homicide. Like the dude has wrestled everywhere. He has done a ton. His in-ring IQ is at the tippity top. We also have a six-man tag with the Tri-State Saints versus the Rep. And personal hero Julius Smokes
Shouts out to the
and
Rep,
the Rep
we've seen them
are
too,
like, love them. And then you have Joker coming back to be tagging with
Sir.
Black Cheese and Monster Mac. And last time I saw Monster Mac and G's, they got in my face as I protested the fact that they jumped Lance Lude after he had just come back from having leukemia. Like he came in the ring, he had survived.
That's like somebody
cancer.
jumping Roman when he came back. Like,
yeah, I protested. I got called Macaulay Culkin. They have been giving me a whole lot of guff for.
Hold on,
the last
yo,
several
B, real
months.
quick. Hold on one second. Go ahead, say it.
Bye.
She was saying bye to everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Later, mamas.
In the future,
Bye, Bella.
is right there. Isabella right there. That's my little one, my twin. I'm sorry. Continue. I just
Well,
wanted
yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
a stacked card with like a whole slew of guys that are on the come up or are legends or are kind of a mix of both. Because to
Right.
me, Colby Corino at 26 or 25 is like he's still scratching the surface of what
Yes.
he can do.
Yes.
Like you can't, but for how long he's been in the ring, you can't exactly be like this young buck. No,
Right.
he's a veteran in his
Right.
mid-20s, and he is
It-
exceptional.
And I think that's such a funny concept because so many people can't understand how you can be a veteran and be in your mid-20s, but if you've been wrestling for 8 years, 9 years, essentially that makes you a veteran.
Yeah.
You know, there are so many people that have gone to the WWE, so many people that's gone to AEW, gone to Impact, got these, these lights and these cameras on them, and these people have been wrestling forever, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, with this young buck. No, not a young buck. How many people in the WWE didn't know who AJ Styles was before that Royal Rumble entrance?
Right.
Just
A
to know
20-year overnight success.
Like that's insane. But real quick, bro. Let me let's run down the card real quick, and then at the end of what you running down the card, I think I would like to know what match you're excited for the most.
I mean, honestly, I'm excited for all the matches because we wouldn't be putting them on unless I was pretty jazzed for them. But I've loved everything I've seen out of Griffin McCoy, and he's facing off with Desmond Cole. We got Rob Killjoy and Diego Hill and Bojack Mike Law versus
Killjoy's
Bobby
no
Orlando.
joke.
Nope.
No
Killjoy
joke.
is also very underrated. We have Bobby Orlando, Wrecking Ball,
Yeah,
the
Wrecking
Infinite
Ball's
Man, TIM, and Jackson Drake. We got, and then a couple of other matches that I've already run down. But just in terms of getting in the last of our stuff here, gentlemen, do you got anything before me before I boogie onto a production call, because I want to open it up to the rest of us, because Kyle and I can go for a while. This is a decade-long friendship.
No, please, like I would like them to take over because it'll be you and me this whole episode.
What you got for me, gents?
Well, we don't want to keep you too long. We hope to have you back in the future, most definitely, to discuss some things. I was wondering, and I don't want to take up too much of your time by asking this question. You work on the production side of things, and most of the things that we discuss as fans are very subjective. We don't get to see the work and the time that a lot of the backstage minutiae when it comes to like crew and stuff like that, and your role as a producer. What does that look like for you as a producer, especially of such a large wrestling company like Catalyst? What does that look like for you as a producer? What exactly does your role mean? You're doing on a daily, day-to-day basis. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of stuff that we don't necessarily get to see because it's behind the scenes. So what is that?
It's a super interesting mix based on some of the stuff that I was talking about. Like, we brought in an immersive theater producer named Zach Zamchik, who worked on things like Queen of the Night, Beat the Bomb, Midsummer Shakespeareans, to try to do some stuff that is different within this. It's stuff like, I'm testing out a portable catering tent to make into retrofitting into a studio for promos. So like trying stuff that's different for like when you don't have space and things like that. It's investing in stuff that helps you build up for the next show. Yes. And then it's also taking what has already been there, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But we have an amazing production crew with Superjaw that has been doing amazing work for us. So it's coordinating with the space. It is getting everything together. It is pre-establishing lights and testing out new equipment, things of that nature, making sure that you get on your production calls on time, which I'm not gonna today. No, but it's fine. I'll be over there in 1 minute. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, just in terms of every single element that goes into a pro wrestling show has to be accounted for. And if you're the producers of it, that's who's checking off those boxes.
Yeah.
So lightning round. Anything left?
QS.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Q.
What I was going to say, Stretch actually touched up on it, but what I was going to add more is like, I was going to ask, like, personally, do you feel like, because you say you come from the theater aspect, do you think like in total, would it be better? Do you think it would be better? I guess in your opinion, would it be better for like the wrestling business to start, I guess, hiring more folks that do come from actual theater background to actually implement it onto actual
depends on the people. I think more than the people, there's practices, and there's practices within theater that should steal from pro wrestling and film. Like, I'm coming from all of those, but it's about making noise, gents. Like, all of it. Like, do good shit, bang the drum so people see it. And it's something where, like, I don't need a random Shakespeare teacher who doesn't know a damn thing about wrestling, nor does he care about wrestling, to come try to do wrestling. That has happened. I also don't need random wrestling people to come try to do theater or film. That has happened, and it's also like, we've seen some of Hulk Hogan's film choices back in the day. It doesn't always translate 1-to-1.
Urban Commando,
except Three Ninjas. Except Three Ninjas. I'll give him that.
Ninjas was the only good one.
No fans of Assault on Devil's Island?
No.
Here's what I'll leave you with, is this thought, which is that there's so much room in pro wrestling for stuff to shift up, and for any of these art forms. Like, I'm talking to theaters about, you should challenge another theater to like an online theater matchup.
What?
Stuff
That
like
would be
that.
crazy.
Yeah,
Mm.
because
That would
like,
be nuts.
why not? Why not? We should do these sorts of things. But within the realms of pro wrestling, the point of the arrow, I always say, has to be pro wrestling. Like, that's the thing that is going to get people. The things behind it, the trappings around it, there's stuff we can steal from literally everything. And we're doing a Hunter S. Thompson themed show. There might be some Fear and Loathing based stuff within this show. There might be some stuff that gets pulled from the various worlds of the people that have been brought in. It's going to be a weird time. It's going to be a different time. And it's going to be at 5 o'clock, doors at 4:30 this Sunday, Brooklyn, New York, 350 Moffett Street at the Muse. Come see Fear and Loathing in New York. Catalyst Wrestling, baby. I am out. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. Thank you.
We'll talk
Brother,
soon.
thank
I'll
you.
be back.
Man, it's flowers. Thank you.
Looking
Thank
forward
you.
to the future of
I'm not-
Catalyst. You know, we're looking forward to having you back, hopefully, and you know, we can't wait to check out Fear and Loathing in New York.
Yeah, man. Once
Excited
again,
to see y'all there.
This was formerly Capital Wrestling turned into Catalyst Wrestling. So if you know Capital, you know that it's good shit. That's some good shit, as Stretch like to say. B, Brendan, I'm so happy for you. I am so proud of you. Bro, I love you. I love what
you. We will
do.
catch up soon, man. All right.
I'm so
Peace,
happy
y'all.
for you. I'll see you Sunday. But ladies and gentlemen, that was my guy, Brendan. Once again, he is part owner, ring announcer, booker, producer for Catalyst Wrestling. He was just on. Ladies and gentlemen, you can go on the descriptions if you'd like to buy the tickets. Excuse me. I've had a little drink. Y'all gotta excuse me. Not ashamed. The show is this Sunday. Doors open at 4:30. I will be there, and it will be a lot of fun. There's a lot of good things going on. I'm really excited about the talent that's going to be on. Brother Men's, right? Crazy. Real quick, because this is the Wrestlemania night. This is all about Wrestlemania and the review. Before I get off, I just figured I'd give a wee bit, if y'all don't mind me talking about at least one match.
Well, I was gonna get to that later, but go ahead.
Oh, my bad. I just wanted to get it out before I come back on next week. Ready to vent. Be prepared.
So speak about the match.
First and foremost, Cody and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, you know, as we know, was losing a lot during Raw. Trying to get on WrestleMania. Vince McMahon called him to his office, said he had a match, but it would be somebody of his choosing. We all have social media. We all have the internet. A lot of people were assuming a lot of things. Some things was the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Some things were other people. Majority of the IWC was definitely Cody Rhodes. And as we saw at WrestleMania Night 1, we were correct. Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, showed up, same theme, same music, same entrance. We found out that two of the higher-ups spoke to Vince McMahon and told him that we needed to bring Cody in the exact same way that AEW showcased them. There was a lot of beef afterwards, a lot of heat, I would say, after when Cody was doing media, but I will personally get to that next week because I have a lot of shit to talk about. Excuse me. But I don't know if you guys would agree because I'm the only one who enjoyed Cody in AEW. So if anybody here would agree that he did amazing when he came back to WWE, y'all can kiss my ass. And I mean that lovingly because we're all brothers. But let's call it what it is. WWE put on an amazing production for Cody. He had a great match with one of the best right now, Seth Rollins. And he came out with the W, to which I think we all kind of expected as soon as we saw he was coming out. I'm happy. I'm happy for Cody. I'm happy that he was able to do this for his family, first and foremost. Like I said, next week I will we'll come on and I'll personally talk about kind of how I feel about the IWC and how they came across for Cody, and maybe that will involve how I feel about the other three of this podcast and all the stuff that we've spoken about. And this doesn't negate the fact that I love these men. It's just the fact that I'm a Cody fan, and I've been a Cody fan, and I've been a Cody fan since he was with Bob Holly. So, but I'm very happy for them. They had a great match. There might have been a couple hiccups here and there, but as we know, they have wrestled each other, multiple times beforehand. But they did their thing. They did their thing on night one. First and foremost is Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is one of the best in the game right now. Period. He's been one of the best in the game since he was Tyler Black. But I'm very happy for Cody. I'm very happy that he's able to do what he's doing. Like I said, I will, I've said this multiple times, within the last 5 minutes, but I will go in depth next week on kind of how I feel, because we've said publicly on this podcast kind of how the four of us feel about everything that happened while he was in AEW and he was quote unquote in charge. But it was a great match. It really was. And the promo on Raw, from the heart, you can tell. You can really tell. He's an emotional person. And if he's talked about his dad or his family, he gets choked up. And I'm not mad at the man. Excuse me. But I'm very happy. I'm very happy for the company right now. I'm very happy even for AEW. Because I'm pretty sure he has enough friends and close personal people who are very happy for him and his family. I'm not gonna lie. I'm excited that he was able to come back being him. That they didn't have to change him to conform to a WWE crowd. But once again, for the haters from before who loves him now, I'll talk about that next week. And like I said, I'm just really happy for him. But Wrestlemania overall, I think, was a really good card both nights. I think we got to see a lot. I think we got to see a lot of unique things. And outside of that, sorry, y'all, I'm on vacation. I'm about to be out. So, brothers, I love y'all. Happy y'all are good.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go spend time with the fam.
Well,
I am K Marvel. You can find me. Oh, y'all mind? Y'all mind if I do it now and just get
Please.
it over with?
Put your stuff up.
Might as well, right? Might as well.
Let's do it.
Knock yourself out, buddy.
All right, cool. K Marvel, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Mr. Marvel87. Also on Twitch, you can find me at Mr. Marvel _87. I will get to it eventually. Once I get home, hopefully things will be, I'll have a little more flow in my life. But brothers, I love y'all. Do what y'all do. Y'all know me. I'll be in the chat. I'll be watching.
Swimming in the
Y'all have a great night. Brendan, thank you for coming on, brother. We'll definitely have you on again so we could go more in depth. And there's a lot of future things coming up. I'm staying in contact with a lot of people. Also, can't forget, Troy, I know you're going to promote, Striker, I know you're going to promote it later, but BCP, Battle Club Pro, next, the 20th, 420, there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of titles up for grab. Big Swole, Tasha Steele, Savannah Evans. The men are in the Battle Royal. There's a lot of things, so I'm excited for that. We will touch on that a little more next week. But, guys, I love y'all. I'll see y'all later. I know I run my mouth.
Okay.
Look, listen, y'all already know. I told y'all beforehand. But I love y'all, and I will see y'all next week. All right.
All right, brother. Enjoy your vacation.
Peace.
Yo, enjoy the vacation.
Oh boy.
Now let me see. Like
now that David Ruffin's gone.
Oh man. Anyway, you call it
Bye, sir.
Please. Woo. Nah,
you guys don't get to see this at home, but in the private chat that we have here, he literally just typed in, "Ain't nobody coming to see you stretch," and he just walked out. So now that we're in triangle, you know, and the reason for our ratings is the Temptations is left. Let's get on with the WrestleMania recap, shall we, gentlemen?
Yeah, let's get to it, because that kind of did a lot. But what I was trying to get to was, it's been WrestleMania weekend, and there were a lot of other events that happened around Dallas over the weekend. So I'll just bring it to this segment that we call "What Did You Miss?" And this is wrestling highlights just of the weekend. It's not going to be an every time segment, but it's just, you know, a culmination of whatever we just did for the weekend. So the shows, the two particular shows that I'm going to speak about are GCW's For the Culture 3 and Ring of Honor / AEW Supercard of Honor. Did any of you gentlemen see any of the matches this for that specific weekend, these two events, or
I really was keeping up with Supercard of Honor.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I did got to catch the FTR versus the Briscoes. That was obviously the must watch. The must for me was a must watch for the weekend for Ring of Honor. It was definitely dope to see FTR actually come out on top. They actually are the new Ring of Honor tag team champions. And what made it good, it's made it dope to see, because it's like FTR, formerly known as the Revival, FTR, like their entire, like, their wrestling journey. It's like it literally seems like it's like a literal road to redemption that you're just watching in pure form. And it's like we already knew they're solidified as one of the best tag teams in the world, probably the best tag team in the world right now. They solidified it a lot when they were in NXT. When they came up to the main roster, it was a little muddled. You know, they got riddled with, you know, kind of, I wouldn't say dumb storylines, but really a lot of injuries came into play. They didn't really get as much shine as they wanted to while they were champion, because again, injuries kind of.
It's AEW, WWE all over again.
Yeah.
Just say what it is. Like, the injuries ain't stopped nothing. They could have had Dax on TV by himself and have cash and whatever, you know.
But in a sense, when you see them, they finally came to AEW. It's like, you got to also realize, it's like, a lot of these AEW fans, like, a lot of people really, you guys remember, there's also new casual fans that are coming into, like, seeing what pro wrestling is. They probably didn't really see FTR as the Revival back in NXT. And a lot of times, you know, back then, a lot of these fans don't care to go back. They didn't have the WWE network. There's no need, you know, there's no need to go and, like, look it up on the WWE network, try to, like, figure that part out. So I guess, you know, but, you know, fast forward, they're seeing FTR for what it is. Like, you know, they was lined up with Tully Blanchard. They was here with the Pinnacle. The Pinnacle basically was nothing. But now, like, you know, they took some time away. They're back on TV, and they're now literally solidifying themselves and showing that they are the best tag team, period. And they have a very good claim to claim that title. They have a very
agreed.
Like, they've beaten the Bucks twice. Beating the Bucks.
Yep.
They've got, not only that, they just had a dope match yesterday, dope tag match yesterday for the Ring of Honor and tag titles and the AAA tag titles.
Yep.
Came out on top with that. So now it just goes to show, it's like, it's just good to see that even Dax and Cash, they both said it, like, they're literally still, like, reeling from pain from this same match. This hell of a match they just had with the Briscoes.
And it was a hell of a match, ladies and gents. It was.
But yet they're still pushing themselves to be like, yo, we want to solidify ourselves as the best. We want to show the world that we're the best. We want to prove even to ourselves we're the best. So
and we
even
don't need to do flippy shit. We are technicians. We are old school.
I think even Dak, because I like not to cut you off, Striker.
No, go ahead, continue.
I think even
adding to your point.
Yeah, I think because Dax has even said like his lower back and even to his ass is killing him. He's in severe fucking pain, but he's still pushing through because he wants it. He wants to show that he's the best. And it's like, and you looking at that, and you're like, it's been a very long time since we've had wrestlers that really want it that much. That want to show that they want to be the best. That they're gonna literally like just wrestle through injuries no matter what. It's just like it's like just being like because the passion is there, and it's just like you gotta look at it. It's like this is a road to redemption. This is what they wanted to do when they were here. This is what they wanted to do.
Yep. Stretch.
I mean, he said pretty much everything I could have pontificated for. That was the match that I kept up with in particular. Was FTR versus Revival, which is an exquisite match for anybody who hasn't seen it. If you haven't seen it, go seek that out now. That is a masterclass in tag team wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. FTR is excellent as usual. The Briscoes is probably ROH's. When you think of tag team wrestling in ROH, I think the first team that comes to mind is the Briscoes. There's a lot of history there, and the importance of the match. Revival, FTR. Excuse me, dare not get a copyright strike or trademark.
Fuck the Revival.
Yes, the FTR coming in as the AAA tag team champions. That being a title unification match just adds to the history, and the gravitas of the match is absolutely excellent from top to bottom. But also the one thing that caught my eye was the return of Samoa Joe, ladies and gentlemen. Samoa Joe back in wrestling a clinic in his match, and also coming back on AEW television recently in wrestling Max Caster, and it was a really good match. So if nobody's seen that, please go out of your way to watch that on AEW television as well. Fun weekend from top to bottom. A lot of their, even if you don't go to WrestleMania or are unable to for whatever reason, there's still a lot of things that you can do in regards to wrestling. The weekend really is for everybody that is a wrestling fan. Doesn't matter the promotion, doesn't matter the style. WrestleMania weekend, it's called that because obviously WrestleMania is like the Super Bowl of wrestling, but there is a lot of fun for everybody who is a wrestling fan. Does not have to be inside of, AT&T Stadium per se.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Fantastic weekend from top to bottom for everybody.
Yes. Absolutely. So just to finish off, at least on the FTR versus the Briscoes match, I honestly think, and this is my opinion alone, not nobody else's, I think that was the best match of the whole weekend. I personally think that's the best match of the whole weekend.
I would agree. I think it is the best match of the weekend. As far as
fair.
As far as like actual, like I guess like
wrestling. In terms of how fluid the match was, there wasn't, and honestly, I could say I didn't see any botches. So I think that's pretty fucking cool. Mind you, they haven't had. I don't remember if they had a match or so beforehand, but
I'll say this: as far as
if this is their first match and it's just for the titles like that, it's pretty strong.
I'll say this: as far as if anybody is looking to get into tag team wrestling or wants to go on like a tag team wrestling binge, this is like the main course. Like if you look at like a menu of tag team wrestling, this is one of the things that's on the menu that is like, sure, it's overpriced, but it's damn well worth the price. Worth the money. Like this is like the filet mignon steak that's served in like wet red wine sauce, and those, those crispy potatoes right next to it. Like it's a healthy piece of steak, ladies and gentlemen. If you like your food well prepared and you're looking for the main course on the menu, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. This ain't no appetizer. Don't start off with this. You build to a match like this, ladies and gentlemen. Get your French onion soup first. Maybe get something, a little bit on the side to hold you. Don't touch none of that bread because it'll fill you up.
That's right.
You want a nice main course. This is it, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. So I'm gonna, since we just touched on Super Card of Honor, I'm just gonna run through the card real quick. I'll just touch on a couple of things and then we're done with that. Mm-hmm. GCW is a whole nother story. We're gonna have to talk a little bit about that. But all right, so Supercard of Honor in order of the actual matches. We had Colt Cabana defeating Blake Christian. We had AQA. What was formerly what was her NXT name, if I remember correctly? What was her name?
Zeta something, perhaps. I can't remember. She was there.
Yeah, I think it was Zeta. Well, we'll put Zeta for now. Well, AQA, formerly known as NXT Zeta Ramirez. Zeta Ramirez,
yes.
Zeta Ramirez.
Formerly Zeta Ramirez of NXT. She defeated Miranda Alizé with a shooting star press by pinfall. Really good. Nice. Now, next match we had was Shinobi Shadow Squad, which is Cheeseburger and Eli Isom versus. We get a surprise with Tully Blanchard coming out saying that he's done with FTR. Well, I'm just, filling in the blanks. But he's done with FTR and he's building his own stable. And we get Jasper Kahn, formerly of Shane Taylor's promotions, and Toa Leona, which he calls the Gates of Agony. So FTR basically relinquished Tully of his duties on AEW a couple of weeks back, and he's already building his stable. So the Gates of Agony looked pretty strong, pretty damn good, and they ran over Shinobi Shadow Squad in a pretty quick match. Then we had the Peacock Dalton Castle versus Joe Hendry. Dalton Castle won as well. We had the first match of the main card. That was on 0 Hour before. The first match of the main card was Shane Swerve Strickland versus Alex Zane, and that match was pretty damn good. If you want to see, I think I tweeted it as something as a clash of styles, not wrestling styles, but actual like fashion. It was a really, really funny, cool thing in terms of the fashion clashing, but great match, top to bottom. Then we had Tully Blanchard again come out because we had Ninja Mac and he had an unknown opponent of Tully's picking. And Tully Blanchard has debuted his next client, which is Brian Cage. So Tully officially has a 3-man faction currently with the Gates of Agony and Brian Cage. Brian Cage versus Ninja Mac. Ninja Mac got in whatever offense he could, and Brian Cage just mopped the floor with him. Now we start getting into the bigger matches. We have Jay Lethal versus Lee Moriarty with Matt Sydal in his corner on crutches. I don't know what his actual injury is, but obviously it's a leg injury or something of the sort. We had a great wrestling match up until the point where Jay Lethal just lost his confidence and decides to low blow Lee Moriarty. So what does that equal in wrestling terms? It's a heel turn. Jay tried to plead his case to Sanjay Dutt, which was a producer at the time. He tried to plead his case, and they went to the back, and Jay Lethal ends up winning by cheating. Next match is for the interim ROH Women's World title, and that is Mercedes Martinez versus Willow Nightingale. I love both of these women. Gentlemen, what do you think of at least the matchup-wise in terms of their styles and what both women have to offer? What do you think they brought to the match in terms of what you know of them already?
No, it should be I think the old adage, styles makes fights. And this, this context definitely applies to this match. I think anytime the styles are different, it always makes for an interesting match. So
it was a very interesting match, one of the better women's matches of the weekend. And we get Mercedes Martinez taking the interim ROH Women's Championship. So she'll be facing Deonna Purrazzo. I'm not sure at what pay-per-view. Maybe Rebellion, and we'll probably get Mercedes winning it to take it back to ROH. I'm not too sure. But that was the women's match of the night. Now we had FTR versus the Briscoes. We already spoke about that, so we're not going to cover that. FTR won. Bucks got involved. Bucks beat up the Briscoes. They challenged them to a match on this past Wednesday, for the double title match, and FTR won again. So we'll get into that another time. Now, my personal favorite, we had the TV title match between Rhett Titus and the King, Minoru Suzuki. And it was a pretty well, they have a code of honor in ROH where you don't do any cheating styles. You allow grace of the match to go on, and you play things by the book. Suzuki doesn't do that shit, obviously. So we start the match on a bit of a hectic side, and then Red Titus got his offense in, and then Minoru basically put him to sleep, finished him off, and ROH TV title is going to New Japan. And they say he will be defending this title on April 16th. If not defending the title, it's going to be appearing on the Windy City Riot New Japan Strong pay-per-view that's coming on April 16th. Next match, which I think is honestly one of the best matches of the night, is Wheeler Yuta versus Josh Woods for the ROH Pure Championship. They are pushing Wheeler to the moon. I think it's well deserved. A Pure Championship match is definitely in his alley because you don't get that extra BS. It's very straight cut down the middle, and we're seeing a very deeper side of him. Especially with him trying or soon aligning himself with was it Blackpool Combat Club?
Combat Club, yeah.
So with them aligning, I can only see great things. You're seeing a more aggressive side of him, and he's taking things into his zone. Will Yuta is the new ROH Pure Championship winner, and he's the new champion. And the last but not least, we have the ROH original title champion, Jonathan Gresham, the Octopus, versus Bandito with Chavo Guerrero. Great match, top to bottom, wrestling clinic. I don't think anybody likes Chavo at this point because Chavo tried to cheat during the match for Bandito, and Bandito himself told the referee to kick him out. So if that's not a deplorable heel thing, or at least Chavo being a deplorable heel, that I don't know what to say about that.
It's bad. It's bad for Chavo all around. Like he's just having a rough patch these past couple, I'd say past month. He's just having it rough. Like,
you get fired out of nowhere, you didn't know. Now you're on ROH pay-per-view and Bandito doesn't even want you, and that's crazy in itself.
Disgusting.
Like even the commentators mentioned that they had beef. Him and Tony had beef, and they're not on good terms or something like that.
A manager trying to do right by his client, and what does his client do? Oh no, Mr. Official, he tried to cheat. Throw out my manager, idiot. Disgusting, if you ask me. There's something about fair play and sportsmanship as a wrestling fan that makes my stomach turn. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but win if you can, lose if you must.
But always cheat.
Always cheat. Always.
Makes my stomach turn. That's why.
So Jonathan Gresham wins.
Like real wrestlers like Darius Carter out there still lives by those ideals.
Which you'll see at Catalyst Wrestling this Sunday.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen.
Fear and Loathing in NYC.
That's right.
Check in the description. The tickets are there. Check on Twitter. You'll see us, sharing the match cards and all of the things that are happening at that point on Sunday. Afterwards, that's when we get Jay Lethal comes down to the ring, Sanjay Dutt by his side, and he decides to get involved with Jonathan Gresham. I don't remember if he attacked him or not, but I know he went and got the belt, probably hit Jonathan Gresham. My memory is not too great, but I know Lee Moriarty came out to help, and then Sanjay Dutt ends up turning and beating him down. So we get Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt aligning, assuming that Sanjay will now be his manager. Mm-hmm. And out of nowhere, we get the return of Samoa Joe. Who's looking a lot slimmer. Well, slimmer than what he was. Mm-hmm. He looks a lot happier. He's moving a lot more graceful. And please watch that match from Wednesday with him and Max Caster for the qualifying match for the
Owen Cup.
The Owen Cup. Great from what I'm hearing in terms of reviews, like from Wrestle Talk and other places. They're saying that Samoa Joe's moving like they haven't seen him in a long time.
Fun match.
So definitely get that and watch that. And that was the end of ROH Supercard.
Fun match. I saw it. Unfortunately for me, didn't call me a bad wrestling fan. The NBA usually takes precedent on Wednesday nights for me.
Happens.
With that said, I did happen to go out of my way to make sure I watched that match. The Acclaimed is probably my favorite act in AEW, and of course, Samoa Joe is Samoa Joe. So
can't do nothing wrong with that.
can't go wrong there.
All right, guys. So let's get to the nitty gritty. Well, not the nitty gritty yet, but the semi main event. We're going to get to GCW's All Black for the people, for the culture, for the culture. Number 3.
Yeah, I didn't see GCW.
I didn't get to see GCW.
No problem. I seen all of it. So the first match is a BCP rematch, Battle Club Pro rematch, but except Tasha Steelz is defending her Knockouts Championship, which she beat Mickie James for not too long ago, versus everybody's favorite Big Swole. Quick match. I thought it was a bit too quick, but we got the usual exchange. If you've seen them at BCP, you've probably seen a good glimpse of a match, how a match would flow between both of them. Mm-hmm. Very strong, and Tasha came back on top. She is the winner. She has retained her championship. Next, we had a scramble match. Carly Bravo versus PB Smooth. Shout out to PB Smooth. Dope guy. He is legit, at least closer to 7 foot, and he moves amazing in the ring. We have PB Smooth, Carly Bravo, PB Smooth, Chris Andino from Brooklyn. I really wish he got some better, offense in because he's from Brooklyn, but and we got Keita Murray versus Jadiz, and my personal favorite of the match, which I've been following this guy for a long time. The OJMO, Michael Oku. This is Rev Pro's, I believe, British Cruiserweight champion. I'll have to double check and get the championship correct. But it was a nice scramble match, just 6-man. It was all over the place. You see big men, doing topes. You see big men doing flips over the top rope. You see a whole bunch of craziness. But shout out to Michael Oku for taking the win. And next, we have one of the big matches. Mm-hmm. And we spoke about this for a very long time, wanting to see this. We have Shane Taylor Promotions.
Mm-hmm. Joe do.
We have Shane Taylor and O'Shea Big Bad Kaiju Edwards versus the Hitmakers.
Friend of the show, Kaiju, Big Bad Kaiju.
Everybody's a friend of the show at this match. But we have the returning Hitmakers. We have AJ Francis, aka Frank. We have Ashante the Adonis, Tahuti Miles, and we have the Vibe, Brianna Brandy. And also with Shane Taylor Promotions, we can't forget Rev Ron Hunt. Great match. A lot of jaw jacking, a lot of, outside things happening, including Brianna Brandy smacking the crap out of Rev Ron. I fear for him and them having another match. But definitely watch this match. I implore you guys to really, watch this match. AJ Francis, I could see why they were going to choose him as the leader of Hit Row, but to see it actually in this match is absolutely ridiculous. It got to a point where he was carrying both Shane Taylor and O'Shea Edwards, and at a World's Strongest Slam with Shane Taylor on his back and O'Shea Edwards in his arms, and he did a World's Strongest Slam. And then let's not forget the moonsault that he did off the second rope. Amazing stuff. Definitely watch this match, guys, if you haven't watched it. Next match, AJ Gray versus Darius Lockhart in a 9-title match. If you haven't seen Darius Lockhart or AJ Gray, it's 2 different sides of the spectrum. Darius Lockhart is, a straightforward, revolutionary black man, and AJ Gray is the most gutter of gutter. He will be the most violent. He doesn't care who he faces. He's winning by any means necessary. Great match from both men. AJ Gray was your winner, and it was clean. Wasn't any cheating involved. Then we had Trish Adora versus MJ Jenkins. Very quick and clean match. Happy for MJ Jenkins getting some shine again. Happy for Trish Adora being able to get some extra shine. Great match. Trish Adora wins. We had Mysterious Q versus Brian Keith and a couple of other mentions in a 4-way match. Great match. I believe Mysterious Q won. Yes, he did. And then Billy Dixon. Me and K Marvel went to I believe it was Jobber Tears. They had a bit of a convention, not convention. They had a
fan
more like a meet. It wasn't like a meet and greet, but it was more like a presentation about wrestling and independent wrestling and what they were, what we should do as people of color and stuff like that, and just be able to uplift each other and stuff of that sort. It was really great. So we met a guy there named Billy Dixon, and he was in what I believe is his first death match with this guy called Hoodfoot. Great match, bloody match. Billy Dixon, I'm probably now a fan just from the showing they had during the match. Great match indeed, and Hoodfoot is your winner. And ladies and gentlemen, that's that for the extra side of the weekend. Let's get into the main events.
Night 1.
We have WrestleMania Night 1. And in regards to, time, we're going to just choose one match each of us, and we're all going to talk about it in depth of each night. So, who would like to go first?
I'd say I'll take a crack at it. I'll go first. Night 1, normally I would be the one, and I'd say my favorite match would have been Bianca and Becky, only because one, I called everything down the middle. I knew exactly. I knew this was
talk about it. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I knew this was going to happen. I knew that that Bianca was going to end up winning. I think what I love the most about a lot of times with WrestleMania is I love more than anything, what I love about WrestleMania is I love their entrances. I love where a lot of these guys, a lot of these cats, they will literally go, guys and girls, they will go and put so much effort into creating their entrance for WrestleMania. Right. So while it was cool to see Becky come out, she came out and you could always say it's like the Blade Runner look. People say they're saying Blade Runner Furiosa. Then they said it was I gave it Eon Flux. I was like
I got Ultraviolet.
Some guy he got Ultraviolet from that. It was cool to see like Becky take from getting her long red hair getting cut to like she reinvented herself just like that. It was like on the fly, and it's just like, okay, this could work. Then to see like Bianca coming out to the proud HBCU. Oh fuck!
Yes, one of the best entrances I've ever seen.
Of fucking Texas Southern. I was just like, I was just like, wow, she really she went all out. Like she really went, like this girl really came out to the marching band of Texas Southern, the Ocean of Soul marching band. She really came out, and they did her entrance justice. For you to come out to for you to bring an HBCU while you're seeing her come out with her own gear. Once again, everybody that doesn't notice, Bianca Belair literally creates her own gear. She sews her own stuff. So it was just like, I was just like, yeah, this is black as fuck. This is great.
Yeah. Overall, nothing short of black.
And overall, the match in itself, it was a very solid match. I think out of the women's, this was probably the best women's match of the card.
Yep.
It was the more entertaining aspect. It was, personally, I really felt like they should have been on night 2, but night 1 is just still just as fine. I felt like they deserved to be on night 2. It was a good fluid back and forth. It wasn't anything quick. It wasn't a quick 26 seconds. It didn't turn into any of that. No, this is a legit match. They had a legit match. It was a solid match. And this time it was just goes to show Bianca was just a better woman. And I think what it really just took one KOD. One. That was it.
Yep.
That was it.
So that's what Becky's been running from majority of their matches anyways, KOD.
She's been running from that and that's how you see the storytelling is in the match. Like she's been running for that KOD for the longest. Anytime she got hit with a KOD, she always ended up losing. Bianca ended up getting up. It gets taken from a grasp, whether it was from DQ or whether it was from either when it was DQ or whether it was just from somebody else just coming in and stealing the thunder. It's just this is how it always happens. But lo and behold, granted, yeah, Bianca she caught a black eye from this, but it goes to show she finally came out on top. Still came out on top. Bianca's the new Raw's Women's Champion. And let's see how long this. I want to see. I would hope to this doesn't solidify her as like she's literally a megastar and she's here to stay.
Yeah,
and there's nothing else. To say. There's really nothing else to say. Like she's got it. She's got it all. Her road to redemption is complete. She literally now it's on to the next. Whoever's ready to come in and take that from her, you got to fight. This girl clearly shows she's a fighter, and not only that, she's the only black woman that we know that was able to win this title, a mainstay title back to back at WrestleMania. She's the only black woman to do that.
Right.
So it's like you got to look at these little accolades and be like, oh, just black people just taking another check. We just keep taking more checks.
Man, Becky doing her best Bison impression off that top rope.
Oh yeah, that was. Oh man, she caught her flush.
I don't think either she was supposed to hit the shoulder or she was supposed to hit her at the top of the head.
So it's
one of the two.
It's the Molly go around. So it's a flipping seated senton. So she was supposed to land on the chest, but I think they may have miscalculated the distance
between both of them.
Over that move, yeah. So she caught essentially what was a flipping drop kick to the face,
right?
Which given I guess at the risk of sounding like a science teacher, centripetal force, she's moving in a somersaulting motion, which added force to the kick. I saw that was like, oh, she got blasted right in the face, man.
And I didn't even see her eye swell, so people said, "Oh, her eye was like." I'm like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, I didn't notice until the eye swelling and everything.
Oof. But she should be back to normal. I give her a couple of weeks. If not, she should probably be okay by this week.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
Gotta ice it down.
It's not ballet, professional wrestling, even though it's scripted, is still a very physical art form. And, it's like I said, it's not ballet. Accidents do happen. And speaking of accidents, shout out to Rick Boogs, who unfortunately got injured in the opening match. It's been reported that he had surgery and it was successful. His timetable is about 6 months to a year after recovering from what was deemed a torn quadricep patella tendon. So hopefully he has a speedy recovery and comes back stronger than ever. He is definitely
12 months.
Yeah, 6 to 12 months with a quadricep tear. So if I had to pick a match from night one of WrestleMania to talk about, I am going to go straight for the quote unquote main event for a lot of reasons. Yes. The Kevin Owens show segment, which turned into a match between Kevin Owens and Texas's own, the legendary Hall of Famer, Stone Cold Steve Austin, ladies and gentlemen.
Hell yeah.
Say what you want about, nostalgia or whatever have you. This was fun. From top to bottom, it was fun. And to see,
and I want to say, I told y'all it was going to be a match.
Yeah, and people are like, "Oh, Kevin Owens is not wrestling in a match at WrestleMania." Kevin Owens got to do something at WrestleMania that a lot of wrestlers would kill for. He got to be a headliner. He got to do something of his own creation in WWE, which is a rarity by itself. He got to do something of his own creative mind in WWE. The KO show is his brainchild. And not only that, he got to do it with Texas's own and absolute bona fide Hall of Famer, somebody that is on the Mount Rushmore of a lot of people's professional wrestling, in Stone Cold Steve Austin, ladies and gentlemen.
Definitely.
Nobody has sold more pay-per-views than Austin, and he still puts asses in seats, evidently, because he had blindness WrestleMania. Call it what you will, that it was a match, a protected match, or whatever have you. It was absolute fun from start to finish. Austin played his part very well. Kevin Owens played his part more than well. Austin, I know we're not going to get into night two, but I think
we are
going to get into night two. I mean,
I have to do night two.
I'm not going to do this match, but You know, we got to see arguably the best and worst stunners of all time in the same
Right.
So, you know, but in this little segment, you know, we got the classic, you know, Austin beer bath. We got this, you know, the Stone Cold Stunners and everything. We got to see Austin's lager take center stage in WrestleMania. What more could you ask for as a freaking fan? It was fun. Like, I remember talking to you guys in the chat. I'm like, Jesus Christ, when did wrestling fans become such fucking snobs? This is professional wrestling. It's about having fun. Like, I don't care how many stars Dave Meltzer would have rated this match, or how many rest holds were in it, or whatever have you, or how long it was. I was entertained from I was entertained from start to finish, and that's what it's about, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care how many moonsaults or suplexes was in this match. I got to see Stone Cold Steve Austin after 19 years headline a WrestleMania and do a freaking stunner and have a beer bath at WrestleMania. A win-win for me personally.
Something I was saying, I believe I said it in chat, how he was drinking the beer to numb the pain.
We talked about that. Like, you know, I know it seemed like it was like Popeye's spinach. Like he just moved.
That's what they said on commentary too.
It's like he kept getting better as he just
right. The more beer he consumed, he just got better as a whole.
I only do that with video games, ladies and gentlemen. So that's actually pretty cool to see somebody wrestle better as they got more drunk. It's really cool. Really cool. Anything to add, QS?
I think again, it was still fun. It was like a reenactment. Like, it was dope. Happy for Kevin, because Kevin got to be in the main event, and all the way to be in the main event, you got to do it with probably literally one of the greatest of all time, no matter what. Happy for Austin because Austin really got to like retire. If this was his last match, he got his last match on his terms. You can't be mad at this shit.
What up, Moses?
Moses, what's going on, my G? So even then, it's like there's nothing more. You can't be mad at any of the shit that's happening. It's like, yo, like if like it was good on all counts. I mean, and the thing that I loved about this match is that the only one that was really promoing this whole shit was KO.
Yeah.
Austin did not. Austin, the only promo you got from Austin was this shit. From this shit was from when he confirmed that he was going to be at WrestleMania. That's it.
Yep.
You didn't see him come to Raw. You didn't see him do any of that shit. He didn't need to. All the shit that you got it from KO. He kept it up. He held up his end of the fucking bargain.
Right.
So that's what made it more special when they finally had an actual match. It's like, oh wow, this is good.
Not only that, but you know, we didn't necessarily know what to expect going into it.
Right.
Whether it would be an interview segment and it just evolved into chaos, or it would be a match. We got both. You know, like, so that was like kind of, you know, and I get it. Like, WWE is not necessarily the hardcore wrestling fans' choice. Don't get me wrong. There's, you know, there are some good things that came out of a wrestling fan that came out of WrestleMania rather that would please a hardcore wrestling fan. Don't get me wrong, but this was more for the spectacle of everything. This was more for the theatricality of professional wrestling, and that's what WWE does. This is like watching. I always tell people, like, if you want to watch, like, the distinction between, I think, AEW and WWE is like, AEW is like watching, you know, The Godfather. You don't necessarily watch The Godfather for production value. You watch it for the dramatic acting ability. You know, watching the WWE is like watching a Michael Bay film in 3D at the IMAX. Like, you are watching for the visual effects. You are watching for the spectacle of everything. You are watching for how cool an explosion looks. And that's what this was to me. You know, that's what WrestleMania as a whole to me is. It's a perfect microcosm of what professional wrestling is, because it has, I think, everything, you know, a little bit of everything to offer someone. So I think Austin and Kevin Owens is a perfect example of that. You know, we got nostalgia, we got, you know, the spectacle and drama of WrestleMania. You know,
got a dream match if you
got a dream match if you want to call it that. You know, we got a lot as wrestling fans, I think, in this one main event match. So I loved every second of it. I really did.
Well, to end off, at least with this match, KO, shout out to you, man. You managed to sign a new contract. You're the main event of WrestleMania. You have something that nobody else in your circle can say, that you actually had a match with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Whether in a winning or losing effort doesn't matter. You've had the main event of a WrestleMania with Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's something to hang your hat on, and nobody else can take that away from you. Well done. And the fact that it was done since January, apparently this was actually set in stone since January. So to have all the craziness happening, for Royal Rumble up until this point, bravo, man. Bravo. One of the best stories of WrestleMania, definitely that weekend. My choice, even though, our other corner of the podcast decided to go off about it, I was actually going to speak about the Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes match. Being that it was a match that everybody foreseen, or no, I didn't say foreseen, but being that everybody speculated that it was something that we already knew, that Cody was coming back, for the match that they made, absolutely brilliant match. If Cody's to be portrayed as somebody on TV, I think WWE is a perfect place for him, because what he was doing with AEW, it's just, it was cranked up to 100 and it didn't need to be.
Doesn't fit.
It doesn't need to be.
Doesn't fit.
You have the crowd behind you. Everybody loves your story of, your father and what you were trying to do to cement your legacy. That is perfect enough for me. And if you are back to win the WWE Championship, I think there'll be no better persons who beat Roman Reigns at this point. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
He's a perfect person. He's a perfect babyface at this moment. If you want to strap the rocket on somebody's back, do it with Cody. Let him get to where he needs to get to. And I'm pretty sure you'll have great matches with everybody, because it'll be everybody new.
I'll say a couple of things about Cody Rhodes' return. Number one, the actual entrance, chef's kiss. I mean,
wonderful.
You will never see an entrance, I don't think, with that much pomp and circumstance. He got fireworks. He got fireworks going up the ramp. He got an elevator, taking him, to the top of the stage. He got to come down. There was so much bells and whistles to that stuff. It's visually stunning. Again, WWE visually stunning. Nobody tops him. I think the issue is, and I've always said this, my problem is never with his in-ring ability. I think his in-ring ability is fantastic. Has always been his character, and his character did not fit in a place like AEW.
Nope.
It's I think with you given the pomp and circumstance and the grandeur and the drama of WrestleMania, he can get away with this type of character being a face in WWE because it's very over the top. It has a lot of bells and whistles. I'll never buy into him as a face with this character. I've said that a million times.
Agree with you.
I don't give a damn if he's in ROH, MLW, AEW, WWE. With this character, I cannot buy him as a face personally. But it works in WWE because of the drama and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I've always suspected that when he had that entrance to WrestleMania, he was like a kid in the candy store. I think that in his head, far be it for me to speculate, this is just me going on a tangent. I think that every time he has an entrance, that's what he expects it to be.
Right. He even said it. If I remember watching the bump, I think it was yesterday. I think he even said it. He is just the feeling of being there, and to come out to that raucous crowd, and everybody was cheering him. Not just one, not just two, not half the crowd. Everybody was cheering him.
Yeah, and I participate in a lot of different wrestling groups on Facebook, but there's one that I'm in, and this gentleman named Nico, smart guy, by the way. And he said it. He said a metaphor that kind of made sense to me on a fundamental level, on a visceral level. It's like when he left WWE, it's like breaking up with like his first love, you know, and he went to AEW. He found somebody that's great, you know, that works for him, but he never truly got over that first girl. And now that he has a shot with being back with her, he's not gonna fuck it up.
No,
you know,
definitely
like,
not.
He kind of like, you know, it was more like, you know, I'm gonna find somebody else and prove to you, damn it, that I'm good enough for this spot or whatever have you. And he's kind of done that on a fundamental level. I mean, you know, the guy has really marketed himself as somebody who's a crossover star. The guy does work with TBS. You know, he had Roads to the Top. You know, Brandy did the E show, you know, Professional Wives and Girlfriends of Atlanta and stuff like that. Like,
really, I didn't know that.
I believe she was on that show. She was
cool.
on a similar show of some ilk. Like, it was kind of like,
she has the cooking show, or had it.
Yeah, she does her Shot of Brandy podcast and stuff like that, and show it.
Which I heard she's getting a show. I forgot what channel, but she's supposed to get a cooking show similar to Shot of Brandy.
Yeah, I've heard it's expanding, and you know, good for them. You know, I've always said, like, you know, once again, my problem is never with his in-ring work. It was always been his character portrayal. But in WWE, he can do a lot of that stuff here. You know, that like pomp and circumstance and stuff like that, and the gravitas and everything of his character. Like, there's a level, I think, of romanticism that he was looking for that he didn't necessarily get to express in AEW. And I don't think it works for that fan base, because I think they can get caught up in it like any other wrestling fan, but they label that stuff as sports entertainment. You know, that type of stuff where it's like overly produced and very, very over the top. You know, they're not necessarily watching for that type of content, and that's okay. You know, because that's the alternative to that stuff is pro wrestling. But I always look at the pomp and circumstance in production. That's pro wrestling also. Let's not forget, AEW is the same company that had two people eat a steak dinner and break out in song with the wait staff. So don't tell me that there's no sports entertainment there.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, there's sports entertainment everywhere. Everybody is a quote unquote that's a professional wrestler dabbles in this stuff because they're selling a character to you. So that's sports entertainment. You know, like, but at the same token, I think he gets by with a lot of the stuff that he's doing, that he was doing in AEW in WWE.
Right. I completely agree with those takes. As for the match, what did you guys think? Simple and sweet, nothing too long, because we're gonna get into night 2.
I thought it was fantastic.
It was great. The whole overall was a great match. Cody Luther King. Let's see what he has to do for this whole entire
CLK.
Yeah, man, we got to see what he's gonna do for back in the E, man. Listen, as Stretch saw it, because I made him laugh over the weekend of it. I just said, I was just like, you know, it's good to see Cody Luther King in WWE, because now Cody can help cure racism in the E like he did in AEW.
Yep.
You gotta understand when Cody did that legendary promo in AEW, he was able, like, that soothed my soul so much and motivated me. It actually turned my life around. I was able to reverse my child support payments, and I was able to get full custody of my kid. And that was all because Cody helped cure racism. He helped the black man.
So many good things came from that promo. My credit score went up. You know,
about 700 points.
I was able to quit smoking, and I don't even smoke. You know, so many good things came from that promo. I tell you,
kids, man.
Him, you know, I felt like an American for the first time in my life.
Wow. So quick note. Apparently,
promos and Jim Duggan promos couldn't do that for me, but with Cody.
Oh no, you didn't. So you're telling me Hulk Hogan told you to eat your vegetables and vitamins, but you didn't listen to him as much as you would listen to Cody Rhodes?
Absolutely not. I couldn't.
Oh man, Cody the Liberator.
Yeah.
But, you know, quick side note, you know, on the bump, he had a really great interview. I was not expecting him to go for a freaking hour. I thought they would have more guests. The man went for an hour straight, and he's mentioning AEW. He's mentioning the Young Bucks. He's mentioning other things, and they're just letting him go off.
Look, man,
and everybody's nodding their head like, oh my God, okay, yeah. So
Cody has his ears to the streets. He is literally what we've been looking for this whole entire time. he is well aware. He is sports savvy. He is everything that you see of Cody Rhodes in this form of Cody is sports entertainment personified. So it makes perfect fucking sense. It's like, yo, get your money, Cody. Get your money. You got it. You got it.
And shout out to him for mentioning that we call it the Homelander jacket. So I appreciate that. But he said it was something. He's supposed to be like an American patriot or commander or something like that. Some crap he said. But okay, Cody Luther, thank you for the match. Thank you for your return. We wish you the best. And you'll hear K Marvel's rant next week. Now, finally, we are at Wrasslemania Night 2. So, Stretch, you will start.
Wrasslemania Night 2. Let's just get it out the way. To me, what was the most fun match of the freaking weekend is Knoxville versus Zayn.
Yeah.
I was,
I felt like I was 10 again, man. Yeah, that's like how good that match was.
This is what I'm talking about as far as would we as fans get caught up too much in terms like work rate, and we get caught up in the moves, and we get caught up in all the stuff that quote unquote makes a great pro wrestling match. This was fun. Yeah. I was thoroughly entertained watching this because it's one of my most favorite mediums outside of wrestling, combined with wrestling. Like freaking Johnny Knoxville. Okay, honestly, this was, if we're looking at it from the standpoint of a match, this wasn't really a match. Like, I mean, bumped
it's
around.
Creativity. It's just creative.
It was a creative stunt show with jackass callbacks, and I thought it was absolutely freaking entertaining. From the moment Chris Pontius's party boy showed up and he started dancing on Zayn and Zayn got rid of him, to the body slam. I don't give a fuck. Listen,
Man's body slam.
I'm a whole historian on this chat. I don't give a damn. I will take that body slam of Wee Man over Zayn over fucking Hogan and Andre any day of the week.
Yep.
The pop that he got for body slamming fucking Sami Zayn was fantastic, and
the form.
Yeah, and it was great freaking form. Shout out to Zayn, who is an absolute pro for even doing this.
He's living the time of his life, man. He doesn't care. He's living the time of his life.
That was pure fun. Like from the minute that Zayn that he used the taser on Zayn, that he used the high five machine to the dick kicking machine, which I thought was hilarious. It was like watching a live action cartoon, and Zayn is like Yosemite Sam. Like, it was really, really fun to watch. And the table spot with the mouse traps, it was great. Man. Like, I thought it was freaking great from top to bottom. And, shout out to Johnny Knoxville, because the giant mousetrap spot that they had malfunctioned, and he managed to fix it in less than 5 seconds.
Yeah, that was great. I was like, wow.
I thought it was freaking fantastic.
He stepped on the end of it or something of that sort, right?
He pulled something. I don't know.
Right. No, it definitely stepped with his foot. I think he kicked the lever and it just went out.
Yeah. I can honestly say, as a wrestling fan, that was I mean, that it not only exceeded my expectations, but I have not been that entertained watching a wrestling match from a sheer like comedic standpoint and a sheer like what's going to happen next standpoint in quite some time. Like they call me a shill or whatever have you. I had so much fun watching that match.
I had fun with it. I still love watching Jackass to this day. Mm-hmm. I didn't get to watch Jackass Forever just yet, but I definitely want to take my time and watch it over the weekend. QS, any 2 cents for that match?
Oh please, that match was fun. That shit was
hilarious.
Yes, this is where I was going to say, like, night 1 was amazing as for like if you were just wanted to watch wrestling, but night 2 was fun.
Night 2 was a spectacle.
Yeah, that was spectacle. That was fun. Like that match in itself, Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn. It's been on a lot of these observers, like a lot of these wrestling pages, like favorite match of the weekend. It was that fun to watch because it was like
definitely that fun to watch.
It's because that's the whole point. Is like everyone's like it's like wrestling is supposed to be entertaining. It's a gimmick. It's supposed to be entertaining. It's supposed to be funny. Yeah. That was gimmick and entertainment personified. Like you can't sit here and expect it's not like no one should be looking at the Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville and was expecting flippity match, flippity spot fests and super kick parties. No one should be expecting that from that match. All you were supposed to be getting was a laugh, and that's what the fuck you got. You really got almost the whole entire Jackass cast took part in this match. Then the only one that we wish that was there was Steve-O. But if Steve-O showed himself there, that would seal the deal for me. And that's it. Wow. Like this bottom line, top to finish, great match.
Shout out.
What will make it funnier, like not to cut you off, what will make it funnier is what to expect with Sammy this weekend when he tries to talk about what he just went through. Like
tomorrow night.
I want to see like, damn, what is he gonna say about this now?
Shout out to Odd Future winning the Grammy this past weekend and Jasper being on Wrasslemania. That's fucking cool. Yeah, that's absolutely cool. Shout out to Tyler. Shout out to Jasper. Y'all doing great things out there. My match of the night obviously was my sleeper match of the whole weekend, which I said prior to the weekend happening, was the women's tag titles fatal 4-way tag match. Absolutely wonderful. I feel if you put all 4 of these teams again together at some point down the road, it will probably be an even bigger spectacle of a match. But for what we got, shout out to all the women. Everybody got a chance to shine. Even Zelina and Carmella doing their thing. I believe it was Monday where they were going back and forth, going crazy. I totally just appreciate the love that the women got this weekend. And the winners, obviously, were going to be Sasha Banks and Naomi. 2 complete packages in terms of character, in terms of athleticism and marketability. I think they are a great tag team to put out to marketing outlets, to even put them on TV shows and stuff like that. We already have Sasha, but give Naomi some shine too. She definitely deserves some TV time. She's definitely got it. But shout outs to them. Hopefully we got to see hopefully we get to see who their next opponents are, what storylines are left for them, but definitely great. Right. What did you guys think of that match?
It was solid match.
Very solid.
I think what for me, obviously, like I said, it stands out for me for WrestleMania the most are the entrances. I thought that Sasha and Naomi's transition for their combining the entrances together was superb. Like you see Naomi coming out with the glow. She got the glow. She's over here. She's doing her thing. She's dancing.
Everybody had glow sticks in the crowd too, so that was cool.
That was cool. And then, the transition goes straight into like Sasha coming through in a nice green Lamborghini. By the way, that lime green Lamborghini color, I was like, wow. I was like, damn. I was like, Vince really went all out with his money for this one. I was like, Jesus. But I think, but even then, like you're looking at how Liv and Rhea Ripley they used it was Donnie Darko and Catwoman. It was just like, okay, this is interesting. Then you see of course Queen Zelina and Carmella. Queen Zelina comes out as a queen, and Carmella comes out as Madonna. I think a lot of people didn't really was wondering where the brand.
Yeah, I was trying to. It was Anna Nicole. Who was it? It was Madonna.
It was Madonna. It was just like, like that one was just like, Like I get it that that's Corey's like now wife, but even then I was just like
married today, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they got married today.
They got married today.
Wow. Well, congrats to Carmella and Corey Graves.
Yeah.
There's a picture out there of you two in the world slobbering down, and a fan in the crowd hated it. I have to show you guys that picture one of these days. But the fan completely hated it. She was like, what is it? Yeah. But definitely great match for the women. I can't wait to see what the women's tag division has in store. Now, Mr. QS, you have the reins for the last match choice of the night.
I would say for me, my favorite match by far it's definitely not the one that y'all want to acknowledge and all that bullshit.
I
don't think anybody liked
matches, right?
Us included. So
I wouldn't even say I didn't like the match. It was just like It was
I didn't like
the close off.
Well, so many factors, but I could get into that in a short stint. That's no problem.
A lot of factors, but my favorite match by far was Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory.
Huh?
Yeah,
Interesting.
I like that match because I the reason why is because I really didn't expect it. It really is a toss up. It was a toss up of Pat McAfee and Austin Theory, or it was just going to be Lashley and Almost. But
wow,
I just simply went with Pat McAfee and Austin Theory because again, this was the night where I wanted to just be entertained. It was just entertainment, and you got so much entertainment from Pat McAfee and Austin Theory. First of all, I don't think anybody ever expected Pat McAfee to do basically almost do a running springboard flip with Austin Theory off the top rope. Nobody expected that. I didn't expect that from Pat. I was just like, oh, Pat's really good. Like, wow, he's actually, I was like, Pat's really good at this. Like, to even then, Pat's like doing suplexes. He's over here. He's taking bumps. He's going back and forth. And he even got the win. But I think what made that even more entertaining is like after it's a surprise match, Vince McMahon versus Pat McAfee. Now everyone's just like, oh shit. And it was made it more funny for me is because on the side you got Michael Cole basically saying, oh god, we're all gonna lose our jobs now after this. So it's just like, and I'm just like, exactly. It's like, exactly, you're going against the boss. And it's like, I don't know, like Pat was just caught in the moment and he's just like, all right, yeah, we can go, let's do it. And I'm just like, and in my head I'm just like, this is not going to go the way you want it to go. And of course, being Vince McMahon is just the dirty villain that he always is Mr. McMahon. Austin Theory came from behind, knocked Pat in the back, was a whole back and forth, like a beat up, and whole beat up back and forth. And it's funny because even though Vince at the age of 76, this guy is just like he's just impromptu came in the match. He was just wrestling in a white beater. His suit pants.
Yeah,
he's doing like his lighthearted kicks, that ain't doing shit. But it's just like
the best and worst stunner taken.
Oh Lord!
Oh man,
the
man couldn't even take the kick. He couldn't even take the kick.
Now I'm not gonna sit here and oh no, it's such a terrible stunner. The man's 76 years old. So my expectations for him physically is low as is, but that was bad. BADD bad. And shout out to Austin Theory, who took one of the best stunners I've ever seen in my entire life.
Shit, Austin Theory.
Out of a cannon. I was like, wow, that's a really good stunner.
Austin Theory, you got to give it to Byron, man. Byron still takes one of the best stunners, man.
He does.
I think what people forget is even though when Austin came and saved the day, I don't think people remember the first time in 1997 where it's like, no, it was not 1997. The first time where Austin like stunned McMahon. The first stunner he gave to Vince, it was fucking terrible. It was terrible. Vince always sells the worst stunners. It's just like personally, he's supposed to sell them bad. So it only made sense. Is like, so if this is like the culmination of this rivalry, because everybody knows how the rivalry between Vince and Austin has gone over decades. It's like, okay,
on top with a bad stunner. Is that
it's like, but this one was so bad, it was good. It was so bad, it was funny, and it was good because it's like, yo, he gets stunned, and he's like, he's like, you see, he's just about to fall keel over, and they're like, Vince is trying to, and then Austin's trying to pick Vince up, and then Vince basically like goes right back into the rope, and then just get like to springboard himself. And he gets slingshot.
Yeah, once that happened, it was like, oh, he's gonna stun. No, oh no!
I'll tell you, once the kick happened, that was it.
It was so funny that even Austin was fucking laughing. That's how you know. I was just like, yo, they love this. This is great.
Listen, I respect the hell out of Vince McMahon for even doing that at 76. I don't need to see Vince McMahon taking bumps in any way, shape, or form.
No.
Like when Kevin Owens like headbutted him and then gave him a frog splash, I was like, oh, that's nuts. And when he took the F5 from Lesnar and after having a hip surgery, I was like, oh, that's crazy too. I don't need to see this. Even in a controlled environment, I don't need to see this. Like, Vince, just stop, please.
You know, Vince just did that for the entertainment aspect. He did it for the fans, did it for us to be like, you know what? I did it to like show y'all that, yeah, like, you know, he's not going to be getting into the ring. Hell, when he went against Pat McAfee in the ring, I was like, all right, I'm not expecting Vince to do shit. He's just going to be there. He's just going to be there. I'm not expecting him to do much of anything, but it was just it was the theatrics of the match. That's what I loved about it. Because even he's like taunting Pat the whole time. And he's just doing this whole time, just looking at Pat. And Pat's just like all because he knows he can't beat Vince because he's gonna probably lose his job. He gotta still deal with Austin Theory on the outside. I was like, yeah, this is a lose-lose situation. And it's like, even though there's so much dastardly things going on, the ref's not gonna disqualify him. Why? I'm not disqualifying my boss. I get paid for this, so I'm just gonna like, all right, cool. That is what it is. It was, I think, but what made me laugh the most was like Vince literally won this match with a kick with a football. I was just like, what the fuck? After all of this shit Pat McAfee went through, he lost to a kick.
A very petite punt.
That's why I say for me, that's my favorite match of the night for night 2. I was just like, yeah, this got it for me. That whole segment was good for me.
Let's just say this also, just really quick. Pat McAfee, like, I think, really lets us know that regardless of your position on a football field, you should never take for granted the athleticism of a football player. It's really easy to see Pat and just go, oh, well, he's just a punter. That man has one of the highest vertical leaps I've ever seen in my entire life. He backflipped off of the top turnbuckle and then jumped up, no hands, on that same turnbuckle to execute a superplex and win. That was as fantastic an athletic move as I've ever seen in my life. So,
sorry guys, just replying to something. But yes, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Four Corners of Commentary. Guys, it is that time. It's getting late. Let's get this thing on the road.
Yes. People like me after work.
Oh, actually, yes. Actually, let me just get to some of the comments in terms of just who is here. Thank you, Jesse, for popping out. Thank you, Moses, as always. And thank you, Courtney, for always being in our chats. We appreciate you all.
Thank you for my boy, Brizzy, for stopping by as well. Being in the chat also, much supported your support in our podcast endeavors. Please support my boy Brizzy on twitch.tv/BrizzyTime, ladies and gentlemen. Call of Duty content. You want to see it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I will add a special banner for him next time.
Yes, please do.
Definitely. Now, you know how we do it. So I'm just going to show the man of 1,000 questions and drunken rambling here, Mr. K Marvel.
David Ruffin.
That's his socials again. You will see him next week where he's rambling, I guess, in a more sober aspect.
David Ruffin himself.
The next is Mr. Stretch, I believe.
Yes, that is me down there. Jador Silva is the Instagram, and Jador Stretch is the Twitter. I would be way more enthusiastic, but after recently receiving a promotion again at my job,
congrats.
I now have to get up early and screen candidates for resumes and interviewing and stuff.
And do work things. Yes.
Work things, work stuffs.
Next up, Mr. After Hours.
What's going on, y'all? Like I said, as always, you can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter, Forever Thiefing. Like I said, follow, send the ads, replies, interact with me if you want to. I will get back to you as quick as I can. I'm usually busy with work and other personal matters that I'm still working out to reveal to everyone. That's all I really got to say on that. But as always, yes, thank you all so much for liking our page, for subscribing. Please share with your friends. Keep giving us a thumbs up. Like I said, we're still on the road to 200. we're so close. We're not. I think last time I checked, we're like 10 people. We're like 10 away, 10 subscribers away from 200.
Yes.
No, I think we're at 191 or 192 as of
Let's
today.
find out.
So
okay, we're like if we're at like 8,
we there about 8.
We're at number 191.
Okay,
91.
192.
9 away.
Or
That's
193.
But as always, thank you all for all of the podcasters that take the time out to listen to us. Like the ones that we have done collaborations with, to the ones the future collaborations that we're doing with.
Shout out to Earl Cole. We will be on a wrestling experience very soon.
Very soon. All 4 of us will be on that soon. Be on the lookout for that. We'll do promos and thumbnails for that. And as always, stay healthy. Stay healthy. Love yourselves. Don't let the world dim your light. That's all I got.
Amen. Man's preaching. And it is me, Striker Dragoon, the commish, the guy behind the studio time today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully I did a great service for everybody. I know I can ramble on about things as well. But thank you so much for watching the episode. My YouTube, just search me, Striker Dragoon. I have the link in the description at the bottom set up. My Twitter and Twitch are both the same at Striker Dragoon. And please support my friend, my dear friend DQ, at her 420 anime cosplay pop-up shop. I will not be speaking about the extra things that you can get there, but just know if you like smoke, if you like candied fruit and crack grapes or crack fruit of the sort, you will get all of these at this anime cosplay pop-up shop. The tickets are in the description at the bottom, and trust me, she loves this. She laughs.
It's not you. I'm laughing at him.
No, but the camaraderie makes it so much more beautiful. It's okay.
I'm just waiting for you. If you like candy, if you like grapes, and the Greg Mathis in me is just saying, "Go ahead, say crack." Like
But for anybody who is interested, it is on April 22nd, not 420 itself, but it's on April 22nd, and I believe it's the Friday that week. And the tickets are at the bottom below. Unfortunately, there was a time period where you could have got some free smoke, but that is so over with at the moment. But you will definitely be happy with what you buy at this pop-up shop. And remember, if you love anime, you love manga, or anything of the Japanese sort, or even just cartoons or whatever, you can cosplay as your favorite characters and go and have fun there. They'll have music, they'll have food, they'll have everything.
That's right.
So the Eventbrite is in the description below. Check it out. I appreciate you all. Catch me on Twitch tomorrow, maybe. I don't know how my schedule is going, but you'll catch me sometime tomorrow or this weekend. I will be playing Sakura Wars. I'll be playing some KOF. And I'll be playing some Ghost of Tsushima. So we will all see you guys next time. But don't forget, make sure you follow us on all of your favorite streaming platforms. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Audible, and iHeartRadio. So I want to say thank you to everybody for watching the show. Thank you, guys. Thank you to Brandon Sokler that was here from Catalyst Wrestling. We are going to happily enjoy this event wherever we can watch it, IWTV, wherever we can get hands on it. Mr. Marvel will be there, or K Marvel, excuse me, will be there. If we are able to go, we will probably pop up there as well. But thank you for Catalyst Wrestling for being, what's the word? What can I say? Rocking with us? Is that what the people say? Thank you for rocking with us. Thank you for rocking with us. Darius Carter is the All-Father, and we are 3 of the 4 corners of commentary. And you got to throw that 4 up, sir. You got to throw that 4 up. We out.